Says going live.
All right. Good afternoon. We are just like 12:01, I think. Good morning to wherever you're at. Thanks for all of you for being here. I'm Sandra Moore. I'm the Program Director for Network Operations here at the University of Arizona South. I'm lucky to be here with Professor Bañuelos. He teaches in the program. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I started my career back in the early 90s with the U.S. Army. I served for 9 years, and that's really where I got most of my experience doing IT work there. I started as a Unix administrator, baby steps, just learning, and then just expanded my horizon from there. I now work for the Mission Engineering Directorate under the Information Systems Engineering Command, located at Huachuca. I am a senior systems engineer there. I've been with the Army for quite some time now, my responsibilities there, it varies. Mostly, I'm responsible for overseeing all the projects that we do. The organization is about 80, 85 people, and so I have to have my hands in. I have to have visibility into all the projects that we have. Assist with making sure that we stay on schedule, making sure that the issues are addressed appropriately, whether they're technical issues or schedule, that kind of stuff. I also teach here. I teach the two courses here, the Net 374 and 375. Sorry, it's the routing and switching classes, and I really enjoy it. I've had excellent students. They come in, they're prepared to learn, and it's been great so far.
So through your experience, what would you say have been the core classes or the experiences that really helped kind of propel you forward?
Definitely networking, definitely anything that has to do with the lower three, if you are familiar with it, the lower 3 or 4 layers of the OSI model. It's very important to have a solid background on and understand how data flows from one area to the other. I think having that foundation is just key into anything that you want to do. Any emerging technology that comes on, whether it's wireless, voice over IP, I mean, you name it, it all really flows through the lower 3 or 4 layers. And just having an understanding of how packet flows from one area to another, it's critical, especially if you want to continue your career into like cybersecurity, which is a buzzword now, right? Everybody wants to know about cybersecurity. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have a solid IT background. And I think with the network operations program, it fits perfect. I mean, if you can go throughout the program and have some hands-on and really understand the basics, anything you do, especially in cybersecurity, it'll just help you tremendously to really understand what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're securing, what it is that you're trying to protect from unauthorized access. You can't really just read a book and learn the buzzwords without really having the background and understanding how data flows.
So let's jump off that for a second. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the courses you teach and kind of examples of how you make it different with hands-on experience versus some of the other colleges you've been to.
So with both classes, actually, the 374 and the 375, I started with the 374, and if you read what the class is supposed to be, the syllabus and all that, I take it a step further because I have my background and my experience. I have quite a few years in cybersecurity. Been doing this since the early 90s. So I give the students more than really what they signed up for. And I explain to them why it is that we're doing more, why the expectation, why it is that we're, making sure that VLANs exist and making sure how access lists work and then give them examples of the real world of how you're going to see, where you're going to see that and what it is that you're trying to do and accomplish. And so through hands-on and lecture, I mean, it's a perfect combination. We have labs and everything, and it's important to not just teach the networking portion of it because it's cybersecurity is everywhere, right? It's everybody's responsibility. It's not just about work. It's also at home. We do a lot of labs of securing your router at home, making sure that nobody can just park outside your house and jump on your internet. So we cover that kind of stuff. So it's very broad, even though the classes are just geared towards networking. Because of my background and experience, and I love cybersecurity, I just take it a step further and make sure that they understand what it is that they're doing.
So can you give us an example, like kind of a day in the life of one of your positions that you first started off, when you said assistant admin, and then kind of what you're doing now, just to show the differences?
So in the projects that we do, right, where I work at, we do testing, equipment testing, and we also do cybersecurity. We have two groups, probably about 50 people that do validations and security engineering. So I have to make sure that our folks have the tools that they need, the software, the licenses, the equipment, and even the training. I'm also the training coordinator there to make sure that our folks have all the training, because it's very important. Yeah. The certifications are important, but then also of course the degree is very important as well. And so on a typical day, I'm probably juggling between 3 or 4 projects, making sure that they're moving along. If there's any issues, I try to help the project leads. We have vast majority of our folks have upwards in 10, 15 years of experience. So I'm lucky to have that they teach the younger folks, our interns, and there's a lot of hands-on and stuff like that. So it's perfect environment, I think, to go into work and to learn as well.
Excellent. Can you give us one example, like students watching today, or those who may be interested in getting into network operations? What would some advice that you would give them?
Don't be in a bubble. Stay humble, number one. Stay humble, because in our career, you'd be surprised how many people are running into that know it all, and they just don't want to work with anybody else. I started as a Unix administrator. It was my desire to learn, and whenever something didn't work, I used to talk to the network guy and say, what's going on? Why isn't this working? Instead of me just shutting down and saying, it's not my problem, it's your problem, you go fix it. So, and that really is what got me to learn and to jump into other things like Windows, and then Linux, and then I did a little bit of wireless, and then started expanding a little bit more into networking, and that's really what I loved. And then cybersecurity came along, and it just came in naturally because I already had that foundation. And so a couple of things: stay humble, like I said, and then don't think that you're done learning. You're never done learning, especially in the IT field. Talk to your friends, talk to the other person that you're dealing with on a daily basis, your network admin, your network engineer, your WAN engineer. Talk to those people to learn more and to find out the issues, and that's really when you learn. One of the things that we do in the labs in the Net 374 and 375 is I'll give purposely an assignment that is not going to work, because I believe that troubleshooting is really the key to learning. It's when something doesn't work where you really learn. If you're just typing away and everything works fine, you're like, okay, yeah, it's good. But when something breaks is when you really have to figure out why it broke and what you need to do. And then where the responsibilities lie. So like I said, expand. Don't just live in a bubble and say, my area is okay, I'm fine with it. No, you need to talk to others and work through the problem.
Absolutely. Thank you. Excuse me. I'm glad you brought up the point about collaboration, because that's to be successful in this field, you have to be able to collaborate and talk.
Absolutely.
Communicate.
Absolutely.
I mean, looking for a new job, looking for a higher salary, promotion, it's always important to communicate.
Right.
Anything else you want to discuss? If there's questions, any live questions? Okay. I do want to make the point that as we grow our program, Professor Bañuelos is very core to our program. And it's, as you mentioned, very important to be curious. You need to troubleshoot, be proactive. I think you'll find that a lot that makes it more fun, more interesting.
Right.
You never want to, what's the saying, moss on a rolling stone. Right. Nothing will grow, and that's how you want to be. So be excited, ask questions. You can always ask questions of myself or Professor Bañuelos, anything down the road. But I'd like to thank you for your time. One other question that did come up: what would you look for in somebody that's coming out with their degree for the first time? What qualifications would you look for?
Good, very, very good question. So if you're familiar with how DoD works, Department of Defense, they're putting a lot of emphasis on certifications. Okay, they want us to have certain certifications if we're moving into the cybersecurity field. And so, you hear all this certs like Security Plus and CISSP and CASP and all that, and those are important. But like I said from the beginning, is you need that background, you need that IT background to really be well-rounded. And what we're looking for is just really somebody that has, again, sorry to keep repeating it, but an IT background, the desire to learn. Of course, the degree helps tremendously, and just not being complacent. When we conduct the interviews and all that, that's really when we see the people and whether they're going to be a good fit, because the environment changes all the time, and we need people that are looking to progress, that have that hunger to learn. And so as long as you have that desire and you have a background, we understand that coming out of college, you don't have a vast majority of experience because it's obvious, right? You're in a classroom environment and all that, but that shouldn't stop you. As long as you have a desire to learn and you have the little bit of experience, I think you'll be fine. There's just the IT is just continuing to grow with everything, different fields within IT or different disciplines within IT are just they're never going to stop.
I think another question that's come up is different types of experiences students can do while they're still in school, just to kind of broaden themselves and look more desirable in the hiring market.
Volunteer to assist. So I know there's some of my students were during the course, they were telling me that they volunteered to do set up networks at the local church or just volunteer at different clubs to assist in running cable, making cable, that kind of stuff will give you experience. There's always opportunities to volunteer for something, and that's what I would recommend is just keep an eye out and volunteer to assist. Like I said, either it's at a local church or a small business, and it's anything that can give you experiences will help.
And I think it's a great segue because no two paths for two people are exactly the same to get into IT. Some people start at the help desk, others don't. They start off either volunteering. I mean, I myself switched careers, so I volunteered at the local community college, and I would free because I'm like, I need the hands-on experience just to show to get hired. That's very important. And that really shows a lot about you as a person going out there and willing to do this, saying that, yes, you are interested and not just kind of like, oh, I'm sort of interested. And I think that's what's fascinating and exciting about this field is you can do whatever you want, and don't ever get down on yourself because you don't match somebody else. And I think that's what makes you a unique, and really be positive about that.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
I mean, I worked for the Air Force, so we've come to where we're at from different realms and different angles, but we still have so much to offer. I mean, you have so much exciting stuff that you bring to the students. Students are always happy to take his courses because you do challenge them.
Right.
And I think we underestimate people because I want to be challenged. I don't want to be bored because then I'm like, okay, I want to go. And that's huge with programs, especially online or face-to-face. Being challenged is a very important thing because you're going to be challenged. You have to learn to adapt out there in the field. So
that's exactly right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Any questions, like Professor Moore said, just send me an email. I'll be glad to help you. If you're looking for positions, I'll be happy to talk to you and how to prepare your resume. That's what we're here for. I've helped other students already land jobs because I helped them with the resumes or gave them pointers as to how to come to work for the government. It's a process. I understand. It's frustrating at times, but just keep going. Don't stop.
Thank you very much. All right. We'll get some more.